Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Show on Coal City 929 FM, Enugu. Today is June 12th, Nigeria's Democracy Day, and June 12th is more than just a date. It is a symbol of people's fight for freedom, fairness, and governance. On this significant day, we are focusing on the theme that sits at the heart of our national progress: democracy and security. How insecurity challenges democratic growth. I'm your host, Ekene Odigwe. Joining us is Mr. Chijioke, Attah, security analyst and a journalist. A very good morning to you, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, good morning, and thanks for having me on this program. It's my pleasure.
Let me begin this day by saying Happy Democracy Day to you, and let's start. In our beginning, we'll focus on reflecting on the significance of June 12th in Nigeria's democratic journey.
Well, June 12th, 1993 elections still stands as the freest and fairest ever to be conducted in this country. And it's quite unfortunate that that election, the outcome of that election, had to be truncated for very questionable reasons. And it has left a scar on the country's democratic search till date. So June 12th, of course, every time you talk about democracy in Nigeria, you cannot fully alluding to that June 12th election that was truncated by the military.
Absolutely. June 12th symbolizes the struggle for democratic freedom in Nigeria. Today, we celebrate the resilience of the Nigerian people and progress we've made, even as we continue to face challenges. And coming to the topic of today, let's understand this relationship between democracy and security.
Well, there is a serious relationship between democracy and security, because without security there will be no democracy. What is democracy after all? Governance, government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So the people constitutes democracy, because it's the processes of the democratic governance are expected to be performed by the citizenry. And of course, when there is no security of lives and property, we can't be talking about democracy. So there is a very strong relationship between democracy and security. And of course, the primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties. So for you to begin to even talk about that democracy or government or governance, there has to be security of lives and property. Because for the citizenry to go and discharge their civic responsibility of voting and presenting themselves to be voted for, they have to be sure that their lives are secured. So you can see that there is a very strong relationship between democracy and security.
I agree. Democracy thrives on participation, beginning from freedom of expression to the rule of law. But all these are undermined when there is a widespread insecurity. Insecurity isn't just about crime. It touches the very soul of governance. Now, to bring it home, what are some ways we have seen insecurity affect democratic processes in Nigeria?
If you come to the country, of course, you know that our democratic structures are being threatened by insecurity. Because everywhere you go in the country now, from Borno to Zamfara to Plateau to Benue to Enugu to Ebonyi to Ondo, just name it, is tales of woes of insecurity, kidnapping, rustling of livestock, banditry, kidnapping, armed robbery, ritual killing, and so on and so forth. So nobody is safe. You don't even know where you encounter all these criminal elements in the country again. Traveling on our routes has become a nightmare because you are not sure of getting to the next destination. And of course, when there is all these uncertainties, you don't expect anybody to come out to discharge his or her civic responsibilities, that will entrench a democratic government in the system. So insecurity has become a thorn in the flesh of this country. And it is amazing that their security architecture, seems to be overwhelmed by the sophistication of criminality and insecurity in the country, because it's so difficult to understand how these criminal ragtag, bandits and terrorists could outsmart our security operatives to the point that day in, day out, all we ever hear is terrorists, one community or the other sacked. In Benue State, the governor has cried out that the country should come to his assistance, that the terrorists are trying to sack the entire state. Same with Plateau State and all that and all that. If you go to other states, you cannot travel, safely for fear of being kidnapped on the roads and all that. So nobody knows where the country is heading to. And it is becoming very disturbing, so much so that people can't even do their legitimate businesses. For you to travel, to buy, to transact businesses, you now have to be wary of your ability to get to your destination safely. It's only the rich and the powerful who move with security men that can now move around anyhow in the country now. And it's really, really disturbing.
That's right. So, what about during governance?
Of course, security affects governance, because when your citizenry are not secured, who are you governing? Is it not the people? The government is for the people. And if the people are insecure, I wonder who those in power are governing. Because what it portends is that people will be driven to the wall to the point that they will resort to self-help. And unfortunately in this country, when you resort to self-help, you'll be accused of one crime or the other. So much so that there was a case in point that has been trending where somebody was attacked, and then resorting to self-help, he killed his attacker, and the law is being condemned to death up to the Supreme Court. And so what it means is that when you're attacked, you put your neck on the line and allow these criminal elements to butcher you to death. I mean, the government of the day and our security forces should up their game and ensure that this basic principle of function of government, which is to protect lives and property, is given serious attention, because all these investments on social infrastructure, if the people are all dead, who enjoys the infrastructures that we are pumping money into to build roads, to build schools, to build that and to build that, when there are not living people to enjoy these infrastructures? So what's the essence of it? It's only the living that can enjoy whatever infrastructure you're putting on ground to make life worth living. So insecurity affects governance to a very, very large extent.
When insecurity persists, citizens lose trust in their leaders, which creates a dangerous cycle of apathy, protests, or even radicalization. So what's at stake here, and what risks do we face if we don't address these security threats?
The risk we face if we don't address these security threats is that certain communities will go into extinction, especially in the Benue Plateau axis. You see that certain communities in no distant time will be raised from the map of this country, because they have been sacked from their ancestral homes and taken over by all these militant groups and terrorists. So, of course, it is becoming a reality, and it is coming home gradually. People can't even go to farms again. People can't go to farm, and that is why the cost of food is getting higher and higher every day. People can't afford 3 square meals again, because people can't go to farm for fear of being kidnapped, for fear of being killed. If you come to Uzuwani, which used to be the food basket of Enugu State, you see that people no longer go to farm there. because of headers, terrorists that have taken over the farms and all these places there. So if you go to the market, you see 5 pieces of pepper now sells for 500 naira. 500 naira used to buy a basket full of pepper or tomatoes. But since people can't go to farm, everybody is running for his dear life. Then there's a threat of hunger and starvation, and that is staring us in the face. You can't buy a pinta of onions, you cannot buy. There is nothing you go to the market you can buy. So unless these things are addressed, we are heading for catastrophe. And that's the reality on the ground. No matter what the people in government say, they will tell you that the government is on top of the game. The security forces are on top of the game. Yet you hear of terrorists sacking military bases, police formations, and all that. I mean, who is fooling who? We have to face this challenge squarely. We have to frontally face this issue of insecurity. If not, we are all in trouble.
Indeed. The biggest risk is democratic backsliding. Long-term insecurity also discourages investment, crippling the economy, and that feeds discontent. And it's very worrying. To wrap up, let's shift our focus to solution. What can be done to address insecurity and protect our democracy?
Well, the solution to insecurity is, of course, trying to curb the excesses of these terrorists, kidnappers, criminal elements in the country. Yes, some people have advocated for non-kinetic approach to tackling the issue of security. Some people have said the kinetic approach is better. Well, it is left for us to see the application of either of the two to see how far it will take us. Because if you see some of these criminal elements, even their weaponry are more sophisticated than what the security forces have. So you see some of these, like the policemen, in the face of a threat of all these people, they will take to their heels. They will tell you that they have not come to die. They have families to take care of and all that and all that. So how do these sophisticated weaponries get into the arms of these criminals? Recently, the army carried out profiling, and there's some military personnel and policemen and politicians were fingered as suppliers of weapons to these criminal elements. So you see that the problem is even more complex than anybody can think. So what we need is to ensure that the military and the other security apparatuses are well motivated, well funded, and well equipped to confront these people. Because you cannot go and face an enemy that is more sophisticated weaponry-wise, and you expect to overcome them or overwhelm them. So that is what I think. The government has to invest more in our security apparatuses, in securing the lives and properties, in equipping and motivating the security personnel. That is key. You have to motivate them. You have to pay them well, because their lives are on the line every single minute of the day. And we take it for granted. These people, you see them on the road every day, under the sun, under the rain. They are there, putting their lives at risk. And still, at the end of the day, that they are owed or they are not properly remunerated. So they have to pay them very, very well. And also, key is this issue of forest security. Very recently, the president announced the establishment of the National Forest Guard, and as the National Security Advisor and the Minister of Environment, to recruit and train forest guard personnel that will take over the over 1,500 forests of the country. And they forget that in the last 8 years, the National Assembly had passed a bill awaiting presidential assent for the establishment of the Nigerian Forest Security Services. This should have been a security outfit that will man the nation's forests. But instead of giving presidential assent to this paramilitary outfit, they've been playing politics with it, because certain sections feel threatened that the establishment of this particular paramilitary outfit will dislodge their people from the forests and, to their disadvantage. We don't play politics with the lives of people over animals. So the presidency or the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, should, as a matter of urgency, assent to the bill establishing the Nigerian Forest Security Services. This will give a bite to the fight against terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, because most of these things are done in the forests. So the security outfits that will man the forests, as a matter of urgency, should be established so that we'll dislodge and clean up these forests of all these criminal elements. Because once they know that the forests are no longer safe for them to operate from, you see that there will be a significant decline in all these criminalities that take place in our forests.
Thanks for your input. I agree with the idea of community-based intelligence and policing and inclusive development, transparent leadership. It all come together, but also promoting peace in our own communities and avoiding fake news. I mean, these all things are all well aligned. If you're just joining us, we're discussing how insecurity challenges democratic growth in Nigeria. And to wrap up, what is your final message?
My message to Nigerians on this Democracy Day is, the worst democracy, they say, is better than the best form of military government. Yes, that is on paper. Because as it is, we have to guard our democracy jealously. Because in democracy, people, freedom of speech, freedom to life and properties is guaranteed, even though that in our own dear country seems to be turned upside down. So, but be that as it may, we keep learning and we keep fine-tuning our democracy. We are still in the learning process. So I enjoin our people not to be discouraged. I enjoin them not to give up on democratic governance. We should always come out to discharge our civic responsibilities. During elections, we will come out to vote for the people we want, even though the INEC and the judiciary has become a thorn in the flesh of the citizenry, always upturning the wishes of the people. But be that as it may, one day the will of the people will prevail. So I encourage all of us to come to vote, because if you refuse to come to vote, the people that have kept us under bondage will continue to emerge and lord it over the rest of us. So thank you very much once more for having me, and happy Democratic Day to Nigerians. Thank you.
And that's it. Remember, democracy is not a gift. It is a responsibility. We must nurture it, protect it, and improve it. Insecurity is a serious challenge, but it is not unbeatable. With collective will from leaders to citizens, we can work and secure our democracy and make it work for everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Chijioke, Attah, security analysts and a journalist. And to our listener, thank you for joining us. Happy Democracy Day. And the next is another special edition on Democracy Day. We'll be right back after this music.